WICR.
Hello everyone and welcome to the weekly Iona Athletics Spotlight interview. I'm your host Ian Sachs, and today I'm joined by Iona senior Jake Byrne, who is a member of the cross country and track and field teams. Jake, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much, Ian, for having me.
Now, Jake, you guys are in a bit of a transition period. You wrapped up the indoor track and field season earlier this month, and the outdoor starts this weekend. Just take me through a little bit of the transition period in between the seasons. You have cross country in the fall, indoor track and field in the winter, and then of course outdoor track and field in the spring.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like quite a turnaround sometimes when we're talking to people. I know a lot of people, a lot of teams here are either spring or fall sport. For us, it's usually it's a 2-week turnaround, so we go through a 2-week transition phase, as you say, and sometimes it's a little bit daunting. You need a little bit more than 2 weeks to get over it, and if that's the case, our coaches will give us a little bit more time. But for me, sometimes you finish the season and you see the next one coming up and you're not quite ready. But those transition phases are just we take it easy. We start from scratch again. We forget what we've done, and we build up from the bottom again. Take it slow, work our way back in.
Now, in most sports, you have during your preseason, there'll be, say, 2-a-day practices or intense workouts like that. But with such a quick turnaround in between seasons, do you have sessions like that, or is it a little more laid back and kind of taking it easy so that you're ready for the season and to start?
I mean, for the most part, we're a 2-a-day team. Officially meeting for practice once a day with the 1 day off. Generally, we have to get out a second time on our own. For us, it's all about hitting mileage. So in those transition phases, we take a step back a little bit. Maybe we're just working out once a day. Maybe the workouts stop for 2 weeks or so, let the body recover. It is a little bit more laid back, but it's not so much to say we take the foot off the pedal as we just try and get the body ready for another 3-4 months of intense racing, intense competition.
So do you have 2-a-days during the season? It seems like you were kind of intimating that.
Yeah, for us, I know on the guys' end, high-end mileage is you've got guys running maybe 110 miles, 115 miles a week. So meeting once a day for practice with the coaches is great. We get a catch up. They kind of outline what we should be doing for the day or what we should be doing for workouts. We meet them for workouts. But there's just no way you're getting 100 miles in, 110 miles in, or even for the female team, they're maybe running 65, some of them 65, and even the high end are running 85. I mean, it's just you can't do that all in one setting. You got to break that up through the day. So running twice a day it seems like a little bit, but to be honest, for us the hardest part is just getting the shoes on, working yourself out of bed to do the second run or get yourself out of your nap to do that. But it's really getting the shoes on is the hardest part for me, at least.
So now, how many miles in a day do you have to do in order to hit your 115 mile plateau for a week?
Me at the moment, I'm coming back from an injury, so I'm not quite hitting that mileage at the moment. But when I am, and when everybody else is doing it, you're averaging somewhere between 16 and 18 a day. Maybe one day, like a Saturday for us, generally tends to be a calmer day. We get out once. On a Sunday, it's just a straight 18-mile run, or straight 16 to 18-mile run in one sitting. The rest of the week, it's depending on, and we're not our coaches they're not marshalling us by any means. If there's a day where it just doesn't feel right, it's not the goal isn't always to hit the mileage. It's if the body is telling you to take a break, or if there's something up, there's not going to be a punishment for not hitting that mileage. It's a rough goal for the week. So there's days maybe I won't hit the mileage and I'll run twice a week, maybe only once or twice, just because the body's not really feeling it. But as I said, it's just one of those things you get used to. It sounds daunting, and when we're coming back, as you say, in that transition phase, it's kind of our twilight phase when we're not doing our two days a run, two runs a day, and once we kind of start hitting bigger mileage after the transition phase, it's harder to just get out and do it.
Now, it must seem like you guys are running all day, and how do you balance it between making your 2 runs a day and your schoolwork? I mean, being a college student, I certainly know the rigors of a full course load. How are you able to balance both the running and the schoolwork?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be tricky. It definitely helps that we get that little bit of extra time to pick our schedule to try and make it as comfortable as possible for ourselves. We know a season ahead, when we're going to be working out, what times we're meeting for practice, so we can kind of plan around that. There's days where you kind of have to plan, okay, maybe I'm going to do all my schoolwork Tuesday on maybe Wednesday, Thursday, because I know I'm not going to be as tired. Tuesday, Friday is our tough day, you know. So there's days where you have to balance it like that. Some days you maybe have to succeed to the workload of your running and say, okay, well, I kind of got to get the schoolwork done. I can't be teared to shreds here running, or I can't be so tired. Like, you can't be tired going into it. So it's as you say, it's a balance thing. Everybody has to do it in college. There's people here who work full-time jobs. There's people who are active members of committees that have to do the same thing, where they're balancing schoolwork among extracurricular stuff. It's just, I guess the only difference is we're jaded a little bit trying to get the schoolwork done. But as you said, you just have to select your days. You have to pick your days where you can get it done, and make sure you're staying on top of it. Plan ahead.
Well, you guys have certainly been successful in balancing both running and schoolwork, with 21 members of the indoor track and field teams named to the MAC all-academic teams. 12 men and 9 women is the breakdown. And Jake, what does it say to both the members of the team and the program that you guys are able to have so many representatives on the all-academic teams?
I think it's a little bit of a testament to the coaches, really. I mean, it's not something they take lightly. Our academics is very important. Not only, I mean, for them, it's they care about our academics. They look into it. It's not about just meeting the minimum criteria. For them, it's that we're doing well because as you know, we've got a lot of international students coming over, and they want to give them a good education. They're not selling them a pipe dream. They want them to come over here and do the best they can. A little bit of that is on the coaches. A little bit of it is on us. We work pretty hard. We're motivated, I think, with the team we have, and we've had quite a successful team since I've been here, at least. And I know in the previous years before I was here, it's definitely nothing to do with me. But I think running is just one of those sports. You have to be pretty dedicated, pretty motivated, and have your head screwed on. And I think that translates a little bit to the academic side. It's something that you can apply to your work in school too. It's not something that's linear, you know.
And you needed a 3.2 GPA or higher to get on the MAC all-academic team. Jake, you touched on it with so many international players. You yourself, one of them from Mullingar, Ireland. And what has the transition like? You know, we talked about transitioning from season to season. What has the transition like been from living, say, in Ireland to now being in the United States?
I mean, yeah, for sure, there's a big change. You guys over here are hard to get used to. No, I'm joking. You guys are. To be honest, the transition was easy for me. I knew I wanted to come to run in the States in the NCAA since I was maybe 16. I'd had that in my head, that notion. I also, as a team, I played a lot of team sports. I played a lot of Irish sports. I played soccer until I was 18 years old in high school. So the fact that there was a team aspect, I used to run on my own. As much as I had a club team, I was kind of unfortunate that there was a lot of talent, maybe 2 or 3 years younger than me, that I couldn't really run with, and there was a crop of talent ahead of me, a couple of years ahead of me, that were just too good. So coming over here and having a full team for me was an easy transition, but it's not always the case. I'm also lucky. I think it's a little bit easier for me, who's English is their first language. we watch American TV shows day in day out home in Ireland. We know it to a degree, even if it's a hyped up version of the truth. But it's sometimes the people where English maybe is their second or even third language have a little bit more difficult time adjusting. They most adjust. It's just some people take their time, and it's something that the coaches here are really good with. We've had a history of having international students from Europe, Africa, predominantly Kenya, but they're really patient with us. My freshman year, I know there was definitely pressure to work hard, but to perform was something that was emphasized. I never felt like I was under the thumb from like Coach Santos or Pienta or Brian Chenoweth, who was with us when I first started, and certainly not Tony, our new coach. And I think that's a big part of why how making transition is easy, is just having expectations outlined before you come, and then the coaches holding true to them. And I think they certainly do that here for us.
Now, you guys are looking to have a smooth transition into the outdoor track and field season, which kicks off this Friday and Saturday with the Monmouth season opener. Jake, what are going to be the keys to success for the outdoor track and field teams?
I think just getting good training block in, being patient. There's a couple of younger guys, underclassmen, who made some really big jumps. Andrew Tario comes to mind. He's a sophomore this year. It's just guys like that, and there's also a bunch of other guys from that year, and girls, that have made massive leaps from cross country through indoor. I think it's just being patient, being confident, and really it's just listening to the coaches, and they know what they're doing. Ricardo's has had many seasons in the NCAA. He's got two of the best assistant coaches you're going to probably find in the NCAA. And just listening to them, they have the experience, having a little bit of confidence, and also just getting to races and not being complacent, and just being switched on when it matters, you know.
Monmouth is the host of the MAC Championships for outdoor track and field this year, which are May 2nd and 3rd. And, you know, do you see it as a bit of an advantage that you guys get to run there earlier in the season, so you kind of get a little bit of a feel for the lay of the land there?
To a degree, I guess, yes. I mean, for me, I look at running outdoor or running anywhere. It's a course is a course, and everybody has to run it. If I didn't get a chance to see Monmouth, I wouldn't be too worried. It's a circular track, like every other track we go to, and I think that's my mindset, and I think that's probably a better attitude to assert yourself with, because otherwise you're not going to get a chance to see every track you're going to run on ahead of time. It'll be nice to see the grounds. We've been there before. I've been there before. For some of the freshmen, it'll be nice to get on the track maybe beforehand, but usually our coaches have us geared to run anywhere. As I said, it's a circular track. People who tend to make more out of that are the ones that maybe get a little bit nervous before most races and end up maybe not having such a good day when they could. But again, it's just for me, it's something, that's the way I think about it. Maybe it's not the way everybody does, but that would be my approach.
Well, that sounds like a good approach. And, you know, now, what would you say is the biggest difference between, say, indoor track and field, outdoor track and field, where tracks are indoor versus outdoor?
I think for me, the indoor track, and both I and the indoor track, we don't have the greatest relationship. I tend to get on it, and I always pick up a little bit of a knock. But that's maybe more my fault than it is the tracks. From a running standpoint, we try to use indoor track as much as we're very, very competitive. It's very much a platform for us. So competing on the indoor track is something we do with intensity, we do with a competitive spirit, but sometimes we're in the middle of a training phase when we're racing. Certainly not for Max. We always kind of pull ourselves back to compete in the MAC Championships, but there's races we go to where we maybe haven't rested up for it, whereas in outdoor, if we're going to a race where we're making sure our body's has taken a break for maybe a week or so before we've tapered for it, and we're ready to attack it full on with 100% health. There's sometimes an indoor where we may go to a race early in the season, and we might be in the middle of one of those 110-mile weeks for the guys, or 75-mile weeks for the women's team, and that's something you're carrying that in your legs, so you're a little bit more tired. Certainly with outdoor, you try to avoid that as much as possible.
Ian Sachs here on the Iona Athletic Spotlight interview, joined today by Jake Byrne from the Iona cross country and track and field teams. Jake, you and the Gales finished in third place at the MAC Indoor Championships, and what can you take away from that as you look ahead now to the outdoor track and field season?
I think we can take a great deal from it. I think certainly on the day we maybe didn't even have our best day, but we were missing a lot of senior athletes that were maybe very competitive in the cross season. I know myself and maybe 3 or 4 other guys didn't even run that meet, and we had guys step up, and I think that's most important. And I think that's the sign of a good team. It's as you said, I'm a senior, I'm on my way out, and so are 2 or 3 other really good guys. But we had freshmen stand up. We had freshmen and sophomore stand up, take the plate, and really take it into their own. Ran really maturely. And I think going into the outdoor season where we're going to have a full team, those guys plus the 4 or 5 others we add to it, I think going into outdoor season should be. I mean, that's the confidence I would take, is those guys stepping up. We always find it a little bit difficult because we heavily emphasize long distance running and middle distance guys. We've got sprinters for sure. That's growing and it's getting better and better every year. But without a throws team, without a jumps team, it's sometimes difficult for us to compete. So we've got to make sure going into the outdoor max we just dominate anywhere from maybe 800 up to the 10k, and it's something we really need to work hard on, and hopefully we can repeat that performance again outdoor at Monmouth.
Now, you mentioned the success you had in the cross country season, and quite a season it was. Continuing your MAC championship streak, now it's at over 20, I believe 23 in a row, and another top 10 finish at nationals, claiming 8th, the 11th time in 12 years that you guys have finished in the top 10. Jake, you yourself led Iona, finishing 49th out of 246 participants in the national championship 10K race. What has it been like going up against some of the biggest schools in the country and having so much success? What does it say about both yourself, the program, and the coaching staff?
I mean, for me, it's I don't look at us as a small school. Maybe in number for sure, not in pedigree when it comes to competing at the national level. When I was at home in Ireland, I knew about Iona. It's something, and size doesn't come into it. I look at the performance of it all. I had heard about Iona. There's Irish that have been here before, and as you say, it's been 23 years. It's been happening long before I got here. There's a history here. There's an ability, there always has been, to compete with bigger schools. So I mean, I try not to look at us as a small school. Again, in number, not pedigree. We stepped to the line against the likes of Wisconsin, big teams there. But Wisconsin poached our head coach. Not poached is probably the wrong word, but they looked at Iona and seen that we had something great here. Byrne was a great coach. They certainly didn't look at us as a small school. I don't think teams in the NCAA look at us as a small school when it comes to competing at that level, so I don't think we should either. In terms of our coaches, they instill in us that that's where we belong. It's and even the eighth place, great result. We had some great runs on the day, but it's something we strive for 7th next year. We strive for 6th the next year after that, or maybe we strive for the top 3. It's what we were striving for this year. We maybe didn't reach it. We weren't far off. But in terms of the coaches, they instill in us that it's somewhere where we belong, and it's something we shouldn't go in thinking we're great guys, or we're a great team for even making it this far, because once you do that, you've kind of defeated the point a little. In terms of the athletes, they all come over knowing the same thing. In the NCAA, we're probably a funner team. We go there and our tent is usually loud. We're playing music. We're maybe we come across as jokers to some, but we're not. We're just a little bit more laid back. We've got a little bit more of a European attitude. We've got a lot of quirky Americans on our team, and when we get there, we're all business. As much as we try to have a bit of fun. So again, it's not that we don't look at ourselves as that small team, because I don't think anyone else does.
Now, taking care of business at nationals, you can certainly say that, of course, Kate Avery did that, winning the national championship in cross country. Just tell me quickly, what makes her so special?
I mean, Kate's a phenomenal athlete. I think Kate's got this attitude, this great attitude when it comes to racing, that it's not really about anyone else when it comes to her racing. She doesn't worry about the competition. I mean, she certainly does. It's part of her training. But when she steps on the line, it's much like any runner. There's only one influencing factor, and that's yourself. The conditions, everybody has to run in them. It's not like your centre back or your striker on a soccer team is going to let you down. It's just yourself. And once she gets herself in the shape and gets her confidence up, then there's really no stopping a girl like that. She's phenomenal talent.
And Jake, finally, now you're a senior marketing major, and what's next after graduation this May?
I still have another year left. I'm going to do my master's here, and unfortunately I'm out of cross eligibility, but I'm going to be back for indoor and outdoor season of 2016. After that, I guess it's the scurry to try and see if I can stay in America. Hopefully I'll not be hiding out in Yonkers or like that, trying to keep myself here. But I'm looking forward to maybe to living here or trying to live here rather, and just taking in a little bit more of the culture, you know.
Well, Jake, we certainly enjoy having you here, and good luck both with the upcoming outdoor season and graduation, and of course, whatever your plans are in the future. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much.
And you are always welcome back.
Thank you very much, Ian.
WIC